Hello everyone, I'm back with another Reddit Addicts episode. If you find my videos entertaining, please kindly subscribe and like them. Thanks to everyone for your suggestions and kind notes. Now, let's get started with today's exciting stories.
My husband and I are not on the same page at all. I feel lost and worried about my marriage and don't know what to do. In need of some faith-based wisdom and marital advice. My marriage feels hopeless. I cannot believe I am in this situation. I feel so broken. I am in so much pain. I don't know what to do or how to fix it. For background, my husband and I dated for just over 3 years, starting when I was 30, before we got engaged. I have had some bad relationships in the past, so it was refreshing to feel like I had finally found a good one. We had so much in common, including our shared Catholic faith, and we had so much fun together. Before getting married, we talked about having children. It was something we both wanted, although he said he didn't feel he was ready to start a family right away. Fair enough, but I was 34 at this point and knew we didn't have unlimited time to wait. During our premarital sessions, our priest advised not to wait too long. Fast forward and we have now been married a year and a half. I am 36, he is about a year younger than me, and desperately want to be a mother. Having children is my biggest dream. He knows this, but still feels he's not ready and hasn't done the things he wants to do before having children, like moving to experience living in a different state, even though I have a good job that I don't want to leave. His family lives here and he has a sick parent who we really shouldn't be leaving. At this point, we are not intimate at all and haven't been in a year. Back when we were, he insisted on using protection. He is not honoring his vows, and it breaks my heart. On top of that, he is extremely critical of me and a critical person in general. For example, he works out every single day for at least a couple hours. I don't really enjoy working out, but generally do at least a couple times a week. I also eat a mostly healthy diet. But it bothers him so much that I'm not active enough like him. It's worth mentioning, I am not in any way overweight and am tall and fairly thin while still having feminine curves. Sometimes, he will pinch around my midsection or legs like he's feeling for flab. Before we got married, he told me I needed to lose weight for the wedding. Once, after we had gotten married, he made a mean comment about me having cellulite. I don't think I will ever forget it. I have never been made to feel so self-conscious or unattractive. I don't change in front of him anymore. I try to go out of my way for him to be a good wife and show him I love him. I work all day but still cook dinner for him and clean up every night. I ask him about his day and listen thoughtfully and give him encouragement and advice when needed/warranted, and try to lift him up. I do his laundry and take care of the bills. I do little things like refill his water when I notice it's getting low, give him compliments, get his favorite snacks when I go grocery shopping and offer to massage his shoulders. I have always been a happy, joyful person. My husband tends to be more negative, so I have always tried to balance that out by remaining positive to try to get him to not be moody and see the good. But lately, I am having a very difficult time being joyful and just sweeping these feelings under the rug. I don't get much in return. The only times he tells me he loves me are when I say it first. I have to basically steal kisses, pecks on the lips. He gives me no affection. He doesn't tell me I'm beautiful. I hear it from other people, but he is the one I want to hear it from. He doesn't cuddle and acts irritated if I try to rest my head on his shoulder or chest. He has complained before that we have different love languages, which he sees as an issue. I have tried to explain that having different love languages is very common. The point is you make the effort to give your spouse the love you know they need to receive to feel loved. He doesn't seem to care that mine are physical touch and words of affirmation. I have also been noticing things like when we get out of the car, he doesn't wait for me, just gets out and walks ahead of me. I have brought up that this is hurtful and makes me feel disrespected. Or at church, I see other husbands step back when they get out of the pew on their way to communion to let their wives go in front of them. My husband never does that. I doubt he even notices others do. All of these things add up to make me feel so unloved. We are fighting often. Sometimes about having kids, sometimes about his wanting us to move away, which seems more like a delay tactic for having kids. And again, I have a really good job, and while I could maybe work something out where I would be traveling back and forth, It would put my job in jeopardy and I really don't want to leave. All of the traveling would be difficult, too. I feel that he is very short-sighted and try to be a voice of reason for him as his wife and get him to think about the big picture and what really matters at the end of the day. I don't want him to regret not trying to start a family earlier or missing out on time with his sick parent, / feeling guilty that he wasn't there. Although lately, I'm not so sure he has the empathy to feel regret. He doesn't seem to care when I am upset or when I explain things he did or said that were hurtful. He never apologizes or offers comfort or reassurance. He also wants everything to be his way, always. There is no compromising or meeting in the middle. He is not very generous or charitable. Helping others and being kind brings me joy, and I love doing things like treating family to a meal, volunteering and donating to charity. He, on the other hand, expects his parents, or mine, to pick up the bill when we occasionally go out for dinner with them. We have gotten in fights when I have picked up the tab. Our parents are retired, and we do well financially. We can certainly afford to extend generosity to our families, especially the people who gave us life and raised us. Of course, I am not perfect. Sometimes, it feels like he enjoys pushing my buttons until I lose my temper, get frustrated and yell. I just get so frustrated sometimes that I have a hard time staying calm. For example, if I am in the kitchen cooking dinner and he is hovering over me complaining about how long it's taking, I might calmly ask him a few times to please stop hovering over me and then lose it because he won't stop nagging. Or if I am in the bathroom with the door closed and he barges in, which happens often, I yell because I'm frustrated by the invasion of privacy I have told him bothers me multiple times in the past. Also, I have been standing up for myself more lately and calling him out when he acts mean or hurtful. Where in the past I might have just cried. Now I try not to because it seems almost like he gets some kind of enjoyment out of seeing me cry, so instead I might tell him he is being a you-know-what. I know I shouldn't be calling him names, but he doesn't really react to that either. Also, while he is extremely neat, I am more relaxed in my tidiness. I am definitely not a slob, but he might yell at me because I haven't yet gone through the pile of mail on the coffee table, or because he thinks I have too many mugs in the cupboard, or because my work area is a little cluttered, or because I cooked all afternoon to bring things over for a family party and left dishes in the sink to deal with after we got home. I have been reflecting on whether he is actually capable of putting anyone before himself. Maybe that is something I am learning to live with myself, but what if he wouldn't put our children before himself? I was looking at a picture of myself as a little girl and started to cry thinking how that little girl deserved so much better than this. I cry almost every day, whether silently in bed at night while he sleeps or when he is out, because again, I try not to cry in front of him, but sometimes I just can't hold it in when he is berating me and being hurtful or yelling. If it weren't for my Catholic faith and belief that marriage is sacred and for life, I would have left. But here we are, and here I am, broken, lost, hurting, and just wanting to be loved and to love in return. I have not shared this with anyone. I don't want my family to worry, or for them to dislike my husband, and I also don't want to disrespect my marriage by sharing too many details with people, which is why I'm coming here. This feels like an impossible situation. If you have any advice or words of wisdom, I would greatly appreciate it. At the end of the day, I truly do love my husband and want this marriage to not only work, but to be a great one. I want to be the best wife, and hopefully one day soon, mother, I can be. Comment 1. I'm sorry to hear about this awful situation you find yourself in. Having said that, as background, I'm a 34-year-old man who has been married for 14 years. I'll be blunt, refraining from profanity because it's really difficult not to. Your husband needs a good clout on the head, and he needs it from a strong man. Something that from what you said, it appears that he is not. I don't think that having children right now would be a good idea, and while it is possible that actually having a child could change his priorities, a lot of times that is not the case. Not for men. That's just not how we are wired. Get counseling. Talk to your priest about these things. To be honest, I do not understand what complaints he could even have, especially when you describe the things that you do, that if my wife did I would actually think that something was wrong. But seriously, it could be the case that he's too comfortable if he's become this way over time. It actually could be those very things and the pampering that he receives from you that could be part of the problem, and perhaps that is simply how you are, and it is a beautiful thing. But you can't let yourself be crushed by your husband. What your husband doesn't seem to realize is that these dreams of him of moving to another state are things that do not matter at all. I've moved around the country unfortunately, and I can tell you that then once the novelty wears off it's all the same. I don't know that any of this is helpful, but I figured I'd put my 2 cents in. Like everyone else, I'd recommend talking to your priest with him and getting marriage counseling, ideally through a Catholic resource. And don't take no for an answer. Don't be passive about it because he seems like the type who will not even give it a second thought and completely blow you off. And if you allow that, then nothing will ever change. But most of all, pray. God be with you. Comment 2. Finally, someone else is calling out the infantilization of men, women as well, though it looks a bit different. The truth is that by the time a man is a teenager, a concept which didn't exist before the mid-20th century, he should no longer be putting himself first. Now I am not one of these guys who think that changing a diaper or kissing a scraped knee is the height of some heroic masculinity, because it's not. But what is absolutely heroically masculine is self-sacrifice, whether it be to die in battle, the ultimate example of our blessed Lord, or something completely mundane such as denying your own desires for the sake of one's family. If you're not doing that in some form, then you're not worthy of being called a man. I agree we need explicit men's groups, especially in a society which has completely removed those groups' ability to be exclusive. That needs to be taken back.
We hope you enjoyed this story. Thanks for watching and hope to see you in the next video. And before you go, please be sure to subscribe for more.